Welcome back, data leaders, big data learners, to Insight Builder channel and building the single node Hadoop cluster series of videos. We are at the last step. We have completed all the above 4 steps, and we have also completed the pulling of the Postgres Docker and establishing the container. Now we are at the step of configuring it. Let us move. If you are new to this entire series, then take a look at the playlist that I'm attached to this particular video. You will be able to understand. Ensure that you have got your cluster running, and then use the SSH key connection string and connect to the cluster. So I am connecting to the cluster that is already running in my case. And once you connect to the cluster, ensure that the Docker is running. So in my case, the Docker is already running, but I am showing you how to ensure every time you connect, you have to check that it is up. And next you need to, if it is not up, you can say Docker start, and you can give the name of the container. So BYOB _DB. So if you give this, then the container will start. And also, once the container is started, you can check the logs whether the container has started. Now in this particular step, we need to first of all configure the database, so that the Hive query engine that we are talking about. Let me go to the presentation once again. The ecosystem that we are talking about, we have the bottom layer. So we are working on this Ubuntu Linux and also the Postgres database, and we have the query engine. So we have the Hadoop file system, we have the query engine. We are going to work on 2 query engines. One is Hive, the other is Spark. Both of these Hive engines, the query engines, have to connect with this catalog, the database. For that, we need to create the user called Hive in the Postgres database, and then create the database called Metastore in the Postgres database, and then connect these 2 things. That is the step that we have to follow. That is what you are going to see in this video. Let us go back to the terminal. Let us begin the process. So let us first connect to the Docker instance that is already running above. So use the Postgres user, and the local host as the host, and the port has to be 6432. 6432, not 5432, 6432. And once you connect, it will ask for the password. Give the password that we set in the earlier video. Use the password. And first and foremost thing, you need to create the user. So for creating the user, you can actually use this particular syntax. So create user Hive with, so we have to use caps, with encrypt, oh sorry, the spelling is wrong, encrypted password as Hive. Okay, I am giving the same password. So in my case, the user is already created, so I don't need to execute this. Once you create, you will see that create role has been executed, and then you have to create the database Metastore. This is the the catalog that I was talking about, that the big data cloud big data cluster will connect and query. So this is the catalog that I was talking about, and if you execute this, the Metastore catalog also will get Metastore database also will get created. Now to see whether the databases are created, you have to just say /l, and you will see that the Metastore has been created, but the owner is Postgres. We need to change this ownership to Hive. In order to change that ownership to Hive, we have to use this particular command. We have to actually grant the permission. So we have to say grant all on database Metastore to Hive. Okay, and we execute this, and it has been granted. But now we check again. but still the owner is Postgres only. The owner has not changed, only the rights have been given. Next, we need to also give the grant the permission on each and every table. So we actually say that grant all privileges on all tables in schema public to Hive. So we need to execute this also. This also gets granted, and then we need to grant another one permission. We need to give the permission grant usage on schema public to Hive. That we need to execute. That will need to be get granted. And then finally, we are also going to give all the privileges on schema public itself to Hive. So you might be wondering, why are we doing this multiple ways of giving the privileges? The reason is, a couple of times when I was installing, I was facing the challenges, especially with these privileges. If the privileges is not kept appropriately, the Hive engine will not be able to create the schema store on the database. In the next couple of videos, we will be seeing this after we install Hadoop, and then we try to connect with the Hive query engine. You'll see that they don't interface. That is because of these, especially these privileges. So ensure that you give these privileges and then connect to it appropriately, or else it will fail. Come and recheck it also. That is very important. Now let us quit out of this this Postgres user, and what we are going to do is we are going to connect back using Hive user. Now we are not going to use Postgres user. We are going to use Hive user to the same database, and we are going to give the Hive password, and we see that the database Hive does not exist. Okay, why is this error happening? We need to specifically tell to which database the Hive user is going to connect. So we need to say database Metastore, and then only it will work, or else it will actually fail. Now it is asking me for the password, and if you give the password, now it is actually going to that particular database Metastore and then showing me the Metastore. Okay, and there will not be any tables here. You see that there is no any relations or tables. However, don't get frustrated that if you give Hive in the first time and it got failed, that is because you are not giving the database name. So -d is the switch for database name. Okay, so that is also one of the things that I learned very in the hard way. Okay, now that you know the Hive user is working, the Hive password is working, the database is working, the Metastore database is working. So you might think, okay, we are done. Actually, no. There are another couple of steps that is going to be more, complicated is going to start. So stay tuned. Now we have come to the important point where we are going to modify the database configuration files. So in order to modify the database configuration file, we have to go into the Docker, because this is running inside the Docker. Remember, it is not running in the Linux cluster directly. So we need to go into the database container, and we do this like this. So we say docker exec -it -bobdb, and we say bash. So this gives us the bash terminal inside the container. This is inside the container now. I am not in the Ubuntu cluster anymore. I am inside the container. Inside the container, what I have to primarily change is this particular file. So it is in var and libraries PostgresQL. So I have to change it, and in the data folder will be there, and in that I need to modify this file. Okay, pghpa-conf. Okay, this file I need to add a couple of data here, and I need to tell, okay, I need the Hive user to be given permission. Okay, it has to be trusted from the local host. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Vim. Okay, instead of cat, I used cat earlier. Now I am going to use Vim. Okay, and I am root here. You see this, I am already a root here, so it's not be a problem for me. Okay, and now the challenge comes that there is no Vim installed. So now what to do? Even Y will not be installed. So how are we going to edit this particular configuration file? This is one of the challenges that we will face time in and time out again. There are a couple of ways out of this. You can actually do the editing of this configuration file outside, and then you can actually push this configuration file to the pghpa-conf. That is one way. And the other way is that you actually install on the container itself, you install the Y editor by using the apt install. So just a minute. So we have to again follow the same process. We have to say apt update and we have to say apt upgrade before we get the Vim installed in the Docker. So this is the Docker container. Okay. So we did this earlier for the Ubuntu Linux cluster. Now we are doing it for Docker. Okay. Now you see that it has been already done, and now we say that okay, now install me Vim. Apt install Vim. Okay. Now this will again go and search. So it will go out to the internet and it will go and get me Vim. So get this Vim installed, and then now that Vim is installed, I can actually do the command that we actually started in the beginning. This particular command. This, if you execute now, you will be able to open and enter into this. After this, you have to actually go down, all the way down. Okay, and above this you have to insert this series of, you saw that I actually copy pasted it. You just a minute, sorry, I'm just showing you the commands that okay, let me do an undo right now. Okay, so you see that I have up to this particular line, there is 3 trusts here. I am going to copy, I have copied the data from outside and I am pasting it here. So this 4 lines I pasted it newly. Okay, these 4 lines are required, then only it will actually execute. Okay, I think this line is not required. This line is this line looks like it's a repetition, so you can remove it. Shouldn't be an issue. These 3 lines that involves Hive should be there, then only it will work, then only it will get enabled and it will work. Now you can actually W and Q, so you have to write it and then execute, exit it, and then you can exit out of the Docker itself. So now the Docker container, the Docker database, the Postgres database is fully configured for and it is ready for working with the environment that we are set up. So the Ubuntu environment is ready and the Postgres database environment is ready along with all the necessary configuration, the Hive user password, etc. And we have SSH passwordless login in Ubuntu. So the base of the big data cluster has been made ready. Next, what we are going to do is we have to go and get the softwares from the internet. I will be giving you the links also. All the links, that even the data that I copy pasted right now will be shared to you either over the GitHub repo or through your the YouTube description, the video description itself. The data will be provided. You have to just look at the YouTube description. So I will provide it there only. That is much more easier. And you can refer it and you can just copy paste it and start working on that. This is the key, right? That once you get the basic setup, the basics of this 6-step ready, then actually setting up the Ubuntu the big data cluster is actually not a challenge. It's going to be more of copy pasting files from the installer to a respective places and giving it user permissions. But actually setting up this is actually a tedious task. So I hope that you guys can get a good grasp of what has gone through. See, the major point is that do look into this as a practice that you need to undergo a couple of times. Then only you will be able to do it without referring. So even that is the only way to master this activity. And once you understand what are the process goes on, like how I am explaining to you, then when you are working on any of the big data application, you will also understand, okay, what is getting linked here, which database, which catalog, which Metastore. All these things will be pretty clear for you guys. And I hope that you guys like this content and do subscribe to my channel for further video updates and leave a like so that whatever content I am creating I can know that whatever content I am creating is useful for you guys. And with that, guys, do practice. We have come to a particular place where more configuration had to be done. A lot of configuration has been done till now. So ensure that you are confident with all these configurations. And stay tuned for the next video where we will start diving into Hadoop, Spark, and actual configuration of PySpark and the rest of the scripts. So it will take another 3 to 4 videos. See you guys. Till then, have a great time. See you.